Morning, folks. It's 5:28, 58.8 degrees inside the tent. It's day 121. I'm waking up at a tent spot. I slipped in a little because it's going to be a short day, so didn't need to wake up early, so slept a little later. But now I'm getting up. Alright folks, 6:34 in the morning. I'm mostly packed up here inside the tent, but it started raining right after my wake up video, so I decided to go grab my food and have breakfast in the tent this morning, which isn't something I do a lot at all. I think I'd be surprised if this is my 4th or 5th time doing it, the whole trail, so but you know, I'd rather start off dry, which maybe doesn't make a ton of sense, but you know, I'd rather eat in the dry anyways. So I think I'm pretty much all done. I'm pretty much all packed up. Obviously I still have my tent I gotta pack up, but I thought I'd give my kind of morning overview from, again, where it's dry. So today's gonna be a short day for sure, just over 12 miles or so. We're gonna try and get, I think it's like Jeffers Brook Shelter, something like that. So just under 3,000 feet of elevation gain, so you know, it should be a pretty slow pitch kind of day, which is just fine. But basically the impetus behind that plan is that right after that shelter you start the climb up Mount Musalaki, which is the biggest mountain we've seen in a long time on trail. So yeah, so I was thinking maybe if we plan on camping at the foot of that basically and then trying to get up there in the morning, that would probably be a better plan than hiking 12 miles and then climbing a humongous mountain in the second half of the day. So so that's going to be the plan. But I also want to point out or comment on my Garmin. I thought maybe it just like hadn't charged while I was at Dowd's the past couple days, but I tried charging it again with my battery, which I've done a ton on the trail, and it just isn't turning on, so my GPS is dead, which is a big bummer, and I probably bought it just right at about a year ago. But I'm gonna have to check into that and see if there's any kind of recourse to warranty it or whatever. But really, I probably only have like a month left on the trail or something, so I don't know. These things are expensive though, man, like $300 or $400, something like that. So I don't know. I mean, I guess I'll keep carrying this heavy brick around just for no particular reason until I'm able to figure out how to deal with it, but that's a bummer. Yeah, whatever, either way. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of finish throwing everything into my pack. I think I am going to test out the umbrella today. I didn't really test it out the other day. Z-Pack sells like a little umbrella clip, but I just kept launching that off my pack every time I tried to use it. So I bought one of these little like bendy, like metal tie things. And I think maybe that'll kind of help stabilize the top half of the umbrella, hopefully a little bit more reliably than the clip that I got from Z-Pack. So we'll see if it works. If you see me hiking with it, that means I was able to figure out how to rig it onto my pack. And if you see me hiking in a poncho instead, that means I wasn't able to figure out how to rig it onto my pack. Whatever. All right, well, I'll go ahead and finish packing up. We'll get on trail. Again, right now it is 6:37, so less than 10 minutes I should be hiking down the trail. So yeah, I'll talk to you later. All right, folks. Hello. It's 10:46 and 67.4 degrees on day 121, which is not a multiple 7, but is 2 days after a multiple of 7. So we're setting a new record for the latest health update. But, you know, wanted to catch you up for sure. And luckily, thankfully, it's another pretty positive update. So probably the big news of the week was that fall I had when I was hiking with Jason, and bashed my hip on a rock. You know, one of these like slope down long flat rocks, or long smooth rocks I should say, and just kind of my right foot slipped out from under me and just fell straight down on the right hip. You know, it didn't feel like a bad, I mean, it you know, it hurt, it was uncomfortable, don't get me wrong. It didn't feel like terrible though at the time, you know. So as usual, you know, when I fall anyways, I don't know about other folks, but when I fall, just stay down for a minute, you know, and let that kind of like, I don't know what happens in the body where you fall or, you know, sustain an injury and just there's like a big rush, like a big surge of like, I don't know what, but I always like to kind of let that pass, you know, before I try and stand up again, because I always feel like it's one of those things where like when that rush happens, you pop to your feet and then you pass out and fall again, and that's no good. So luckily none of that happened though. I fell, I stayed down, I waited for that kind of like whoosh to kind of pass by, and then kind of took inventory, and you know, it hurt, it was uncomfortable, but it didn't feel like terrible. And the next couple days it was definitely kind of barking a little in the hip, you know, and wasn't super great, wasn't super bad, but it wasn't super great. And I hiked through it, and honestly by the third day probably, or something like it was really getting a lot better. So, and now thankfully it's you know, no complaints at all. I do have still just like a little bit of a bruise on my hip, so like if I push, you know, then it's a little sensitive, but whatever. I mean, nothing that affects my stride or my walk or anything like that, so that's really good. Really happy that wasn't that wasn't going to be a thing. So that's definitely great. Aside from that, the body's doing great. Really, it's been a while since I've gotten blisters. Been a while since I've gotten a scratch. Oh Jesus. And even with, you know, I put on the new trekking pole straps a couple days ago, and I was definitely kind of cognizant of the fact that last time I had new straps, it really aggravated the blisters on my hands, but the calluses or blisters or whatever. But you know, granted, we're only whatever 20 some odd miles into these straps, but so far so good, you know. So that's pretty great. Hopefully they'll you know, hopefully the hands have just finally caught up to the fact that I'm using trekking poles all day every day. Stomach good, head good, eyes good, feet good, hands good, knees, shins, ankles all good, toes all good. I did trim up my fingernails and toenails on that 0 day at Dowd's Country Inn and Tavern in Lime. So that's a bit of like maintenance that I took care of, as well as the haircut last week in Hanover. I did for the resupply, they only had like the big, there's a fly in my ear. They only had like the big jugs, like the big old tub of prunes. So rather than buy a tub and kind of lug that around for days and days and days, I switched. So I got, oh golly, I forget what. I got something else. I'll put the name of it down below because I forget. Not dates. Maybe it was dates. I don't know. I got something else. Something prune-esque. So we'll kind of see how that goes. Yeah, the other big, again, not really health of body, but health of gear updates. Again, new poles or new tips and straps on my trekking poles, which is great. So far, so good with all that. And then the missing strut or support from my backpack, which again, thankfully, it's a little over 20 miles now. I don't think it's really affecting me too poorly, but as I think I mentioned in yesterday's video or the day before or whatever, I was able to get on the phone with Z-Packs, and they're gonna have new ones waiting for me when I get to Lincoln in a couple days. So that's pretty great. They didn't even charge me anything, man. They really, honestly, I'd heard mixed things about Z-Packs customer service, and by mixed things I mean mostly pretty negative things, to be honest. But boy, they crushed it. I mean, they took care of me. You know, no charge, no questions. You know, they were like, "Oh, you missing it? Okay, cool. Yeah, we got you. Don't even worry about it. We'll send it to that address." So that was pretty great. Super satisfied. Couldn't ask for more from them. And then the other gear thing is the Garmin InReach Mini, my GPS kind of SOS/tracking device. That died. I don't know what in the world happened, man. It was working fine before I got to Dowd's, and I charged it just like I always do, and now it just isn't turning on. So I tried to charge it again, and it just isn't turning on. It's just no response whatsoever, which is crazy because I only got it in November, and now it's whatever, June. So yeah, like 7 months later. But I bought it at REI, so I gave REI a call, and they're like, "Oh, we only have a 90-day return policy for stuff like that," which is a bummer, but shame on me for not reading the fine print or whatever. It does look like Garmin has a 1-year manufacturer warranty on stuff like that, but they're not open today. They won't be open until Monday, so you know, I'll have to call them up on Monday and try and negotiate that. What I really don't feel like doing is spending another $400 for a new one just for the last month of the hike. That's for sure. But, you know, we'll kind of see what Garmin says on Monday, I guess. So, yeah, so that was trekking poles, that was Garmin, that was the missing thing from the pack. So far, the new shoes are just absolutely crushing. Love them. New compression sleeves on my calves and stuff. Those are fantastic. Just loving it. Feeling good. Feeling fresh. Oh, you know, one other health thing I'll just kind of comment on. I think I've already spoken to most of my family and wife and everything about this, but and it's kind of hard to explain, to be honest, but just a general, like, I was using the word in yesterday's video, I think, but like weary, just a general sort of weariness, you know. I kind of knew that I was getting on trail back in February with, you know, some extra weight, but not a ton by any means. And I knew that at some point that would be gone and all of my reserves would be spent. And from that moment on, I'd be, you know, I'd just have less store, you know. And I think just in this past week or two, that's kind of where I find myself, where like I just don't have a lot of reserve energy. I don't have a lot of reserve calories, and at this point, when you say like living hand to mouth, that's pretty much what's happening on the caloric level. Yeah, I mean, like, muscles don't hurt, things don't ache, the muscles are strong, you know, so nothing's like stretching or, you know, the way, like, if you never run and then you go out and you run for 2 miles, the way that things ache and sting and burn and stuff like that. None of that's happening because, you know, because this is just what my muscles do now. I'm just a walking machine. But but they do feel kind of like hollow or tired. They just feel, well, that's it, hollow and tired. I don't really know how to explain it. So you know, and it's not anything that I think is, you know, gonna mess me up or anything necessarily, but if that's my current sort of physiological situation, then that's how I need to proceed from here in, you know. So that's the other thing about kind of cutting the mileage and maybe taking more breaks or trying to eat more and, you know, shorter days or whatever, is just about accommodating the fact that my body just doesn't have a whole lot more built in, you know. And again, whatever. Will is strong, attitude is great, and I couldn't be happier, you know, to be out here. I have absolutely no plans of even thinking about getting off or quitting at this point or anything like that. That's just totally anathema. I will finish at this point. I absolutely will finish. It's just a matter of, you know, finishing healthy, finishing happy, making sure I don't Well, I'm just more susceptible to braking now is maybe the way to say it. I'm more susceptible to braking now than I have been since the start, so I gotta be clear-eyed about that and be smart about that and finish this trail. So anyways, this is a really long health update, but I'm gonna go ahead and cut it because I feel like I've been blabbering for a while. But yeah, we'll go ahead, bang out these last few miles and move from there. So I'll check in with you all later. Sorry about the 2-day late health update. We'll be back on track in 5 days on our multiples of 7. And I'll definitely be talking to you a little later today. So have a good one. All right. Well, I didn't take a look at the time before I hit record, folks, but here we are in the back of a pickup truck. Friendly fella actually turned his truck around to come pick up me and Birdman. We're gonna try and get into town and get some food. Believe it or not, well, this is not my first hitch in a pickup. It is my first hitch in the back of a pickup, so exciting, man. Now we get the air conditioning. I love it. All right, see you in town. All right, folks, it's 2:24 and Birdman and I just finished up some lunch over at
check this out.
Or Mill. Yeah, you ate too much.
It fit earlier, I swear.
You ate too much. Yeah, I got a couple good burgers, definitely good burgers. What was it? So it was 6 ounces of ground beef with pastrami, bacon, fried egg, jalapeno, mayonnaise, cheddar cheese. I think, was that it on brioche?
Yeah, lettuce too.
Lettuce too, right, of course, can't forget the lettuce.
Yeah.
And some French fries. I got a cheesecake for dessert, and we are both packing out a grilled cheese to have for I don't know what, second lunch or early dinner or something, I don't know.
I brought the fries.
Oh, he brought the fries. I ate a couple fries and then I was way too full. I don't know, for my taste, fries won't travel, but now we're kind of walking across a little bit of a median because this next road is New Hampshire Route 25, which we're hoping we can stick our thumbs out and have as much luck getting back to the trail as we had getting to town. So
this could be a higher degree of difficulty.
yeah, it might be a little trickier, but we'll kind of see how we go. You know, we'll see how we go. So we'll give it the try and see how we go. And should be just a little over a mile once we're back on the trail to get to camp tonight. That ought to be good. So yeah, we'll kind of stick our thumbs out and see how we go. And I will check back with you all later. All right, 2:32. And we're back in another bed of another pickup truck. Friendly fella stopped over to scoop us up. That was less than 10 minutes.
That was really
That
quick,
might have been
yeah.
5 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, that was quick.
All right, go ahead, New Hampshire. Way to love it. We'll get back to trail. All right, folks, 4:36 p.m. and 71.6 degrees. And I'm at Jeffers Brook Shelter, which is a pretty straightforward shelter. Not too much to talk about here. Just a big open platform. And that's about it. No picnic table, no bear box. There's a privy back there, not too far away. But really, that's about it. So, got the tent all pitched up. Didn't really eat much dinner because of that late lunch, but both Birdman and I packed out a grilled cheese. I already ate mine, so that was kind of like a second lunch, early dinner. But I think that's probably all I'm going to eat today. I don't really need much more food. I'm still really full when I ate that grilled cheese. So I think I am going to jump into the tent and probably be done recording for the day. Tomorrow is Mount Musalak. I met a volunteer with the local trail club here who kind of popped through the shelter and put me right when I asked him, is it Musalaki or Musalak? Because I've heard it both ways. He said only people from Massachusetts call it Musalaki. And I'm happy then to call it Musalak, because a person from Massachusetts I am not. So he said all the locals call it Musalak, and when in doubt, I just assume defer to the locals. So Musalak hereafter, officially Mount Musalak. Yeah, so we got that tomorrow. I think it's like a 16 or 17 mile day tomorrow with 6,000 feet of elevation or something like that. The volunteer, whose name I didn't get actually, I should have asked him his name, but I didn't even ask him his name. Also said that pretty much from here on in through the presidentials, I mean, so we have Musalak, we have Kinsman, we have Lafayette, and we're into the presidentials with all sorts of, you know, Adams and Washington and all those, Eisenhower, I think, I don't know, maybe not Eisenhower, maybe I'm making that up, but pretty much most of those ranges are like 1,000 feet a mile up and 1,000 feet a mile down, which is definitely a grade. But he was also really excited, saying like, dude, it's beautiful, drop dead beautiful through there. So that pretty much squares with everything I've heard about this section of trail, and that's pretty good. So yeah, it was me, it was Birdman, and another young lady, a section hiker who just showed up. So she's going to be pitching up as well. So far, just the three of us. We'll see if anyone else shows up, but I'm going to go ahead and jump in the tent. So that's it for me for today. Definitely a good day, definitely an early day. Really exciting to have such success with hitchhiking in and out of town. We were waiting like less than 10 minutes both times. I mean, I think we were like probably 7 minutes hitching off the trail, and then probably less than 5 minutes hitching out of town back to the trail. So really, really an easy way to go get lunch, and that was really cool. So anyways, that's all I got. I'm going to turn in, and I will talk to you all tomorrow. Have a good one.